Yes, so thank you, Mr. Speaker. And there's a number of statements that I would challenge the member on in terms of just how accurate they are. But I think there is a substantial difference between the government and what we're witnessing across the way. We do believe that investing in Canada is the way in which we're going to be able to build a stronger and healthier country, Mr. Speaker. By investing in Canada, we're going to have better roads, bridges, infrastructure that supports a healthier economy, safer communities. This is what it is that the Liberal Party, that this government is working towards, a stronger Canada. On the other hand, we see the Conservatives want to dispose of some of that infrastructure. They're not voting for the budget, Mr. Speaker. They're more interested in having an election than building a healthier Canada. Can the member explain why it is?
The honourable member for Newsacum Gwillimbury.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for Winnipeg North for the question. Conservatives are concerned about affordability for Canadians. That's what this budget's all about. We were told by this government in the last campaign, they're going to move at speeds Canadians have never seen before, Mr. Speaker. This is going to be generational. You know, we've got the new major projects office. I stood in this house and asked for the address the other day, the phone number, and the email. Well, that's not set up yet. Now we've got the Build Canada Homes Department. More bureaucracy. Where's the Build Canada Homes office, Mr. Speaker? Well, that's not set up yet. You know, we've heard this song and dance before, Mr. Speaker.
Young commentator, Deputy Drummond.
Honourable member for Drummond. I think you should leave my colleague a bit more time. It's always entertaining. Often the Liberal budget is criticized as being very conservative, but there are things in the budget. What does he like the best, if it is truly a conservative budget? So the massive increase in defense spending, tax cuts of $28 billion, cuts to the public service, and billions in tax credits for the oil patch. Which of these conservative measures coming from the Liberal government does my conservative friend like the most?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And one conservative measure I can appreciate is the elimination of the carbon tax. You know, Mr. Speaker, we fought in this House for 10 years for the elimination of the carbon tax. And we have the other side, the government side, fighting us every day on that. So that is one conservative measure that I see in the budget that I'm happy that's gone, thanks to Conservatives, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments, the honourable member for Wellington Halton Hills North.
Mr. Speaker, the government often touts its record on its net debt, but that fails to take into account that Canada is the smallest of the G7 economies, it has the smallest currency of the G7 economies, and it is not a reserve currency like the US dollar or euro. It also fails to take into account sub-national debt in this country, which is among some of the highest levels in the OECD, which the federal government backstops. Just 5 years ago, a province hit the debt wall, ran out of money, couldn't pay its doctors and nurses, and couldn't raise a penny on debt capital markets, and the federal government had to bail them out. Would the member comment?
Member for Newsacum Gwillimbury.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my colleague for the great question. This is why we're standing here today. We are talking about $80 billion. And so Canadians understand, Mr. Speaker, you know, just to service that debt now, that is more than we spend on health care and unemployment insurance. We would now need a 15% GST just to cover the interest on the debt. It is completely out of control, Mr. Speaker.
We have time for a brief question. The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
The honourable member for Tecumseh Gwillimbury, I noted his comments about poverty, and I wondered if he'd seen, and it was no surprise if he hasn't seen, it was just released this morning, the new report on the Commissioner for Environment and Sustainable Development, pointing out Canada's off track to meet our sustainable development goals to reduce poverty. The most recent numbers show that since 2020, although we had a drop in poverty during the COVID period, since 2020, the poverty rate has been increasing up from 6.4%, and in 2023 reaching 10.2% and rising. I look for the member's comments.
The honourable member, a brief response.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that's why I said this budget should have been about affordability for Canadians. And a comment on the environment, Mr. Speaker, and to the member opposite, the $2 billion tree planting is now gone, Mr. Speaker. Another reversal, another broken promise. This budget should have been entitled Broken Promises.